What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of NayNay. Welcome back now, for real. Like, it's been a while. Now, if you guys haven't done so, check out the second to last video that I posted about my trauma story. I really go deep into one of my traumas, right? One of many, many traumas that I've had in my life. But I do think like I'm like an onion, because not the stinky part, relax. But I have so many layers to me that I'm open to talk about them, because I've taken the time to heal from these traumas, from these layers that I never opened up in my life. And this episode is dedicated to my male people. June is Men's Mental Health Month, and today is the last day. And I want to express how it's a tough month for a lot of our male audiences, our friends. And this is dedicated to you, to my male besties, male best friends, even my dad, because I want you to know that you are heard and you're not alone. And I can firmly say that it's really hard to open up about our feelings, to even be vulnerable, because some of us are afraid that we're going to seem weak. But that's not true. Vulnerability is power. Vulnerability is strength. And so for the past few weeks, Tazz and I have been working together and posting new episodes on Tazz Knows Podcast, and one of them dedicated for Men's Mental Health Month. And he opened up his heart. And boy, me listening to it feels like a therapist. No. Now it's difficult, as a best friend, to hear my own best friend open up about his feelings and his fears, his doubts. But I'm very proud of him. He inspires a lot of people. It's difficult to listen because I wish I could take all his fear, his doubt, his pain away, right? And I'm just very grateful that I am the person that he can open up to. A lot of our listeners can finally see that it's okay to be vulnerable. One thing that I remember, this is another one of my layers, and it was the very last time I saw my dad in person. For those that don't know, so I have not seen my dad in about 20 years. He lives in Mexico, and I came here when I was very little to the US. And so the very last time that I saw him, I was about 7 years old. And I remember the day that I hugged him. And 7-year-old little girl looking like Dora the Explorer. I remember telling him like, hey, come with me, And he told me, he's like, you're going to have a fun trip and I'm going to see you soon. And then I knew something was wrong, because he looked at me with those eyes, the eyes of, this is the last time I'm going to see you. Oh my God, girl. See, I was going to not talk about this, but whatever. So that was the last time, right? And I hugged him, and I just didn't know what was going to happen afterwards. But I was a 7-year-old little girl. How was I supposed to know, right? That was the last time I was going to see him. But he's still alive, okay? This is not a sad story, but I want to express that I grew up very strong-willed because of my mother. My mother is a single woman with 5 kids, coming to the US and living the immigrant life and working so hard to take care of her kids. So she had to be the male and female of our family, the father and mother of us. And it's crazy how life turns out, because 10 years later, when we came to the US, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so you can imagine how hard it was for our family to go to school, work, and see my mother go through the pain of chemotherapy, going through those doctor visits, coming back, her losing her hair. And it was very hard for us as siblings to witness that. But my mom's strength was, makes me so proud, right? She was a strong woman. She did not, for one moment, show her weakness to us. And so I know for a fact she didn't want to open up about how she truly felt, because she knew she had to be strong for all of us. And I remember asking my mom, like, Mom, are you okay? But she lost her hair. And my mom's like, what do you mean? She's like, I'm fine. And then she would put on her wig and go back to work. So my mom going through chemotherapy, she still went to work. My goodness. So that's the strength that I grew up with. The strength of a mother that did not feel like she could be vulnerable because she thought she was going to seem weak. And she had to be strong for her children. So I grew up that way. I grew up keeping it all in, not talking about my emotions, letting life just pass me by without being honest about how I truly felt. And it was just customed. It made me the person that I am today, strong-willed, and I had to get things done. No matter how much I hated it, no matter how much I bitched about it, no matter how hard it was. I earned my education, had a good job, earned a good full-time job, professional job, and developed my career. And at the same time, I started the sport. So it made me the person that I am today. And forever, I will, and it's hard to even tell her those things because, like I said, she's a strong woman. So me being vulnerable with her was also very tough. And so for some time, I was like the odd child in my family because I started breaking that norm. The norm of not opening up, right? Of being strong all the time, of hiding out our emotions. So I started becoming more honest about my emotions. And there was one time I remember, it was on a Sunday morning, my mom used to make us breakfast for all of us, for the family, for us to spend time together, laugh, and just talk about our week and do all these things. And it was literally just all of a sudden in the table, I just freaked out. I don't know, I just had a panic attack. I lost my breath. I felt like I was gonna faint. I couldn't take it anymore. And I said, this is it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of, I don't know what's happening, right? And so ever since, I became more honest and opened up about my life. And now the relationship with my mom and I have gotten so much stronger because I'm able to open up and be vulnerable. And so you could imagine the amount of years not being around my dad, right? So it was tough. It's only been a few years that I've gotten connected with him again. And that's why I am open about it, because I held a lot of resentment towards him. I felt like he left me and he didn't look for me. So I had a lot of bundle up feelings. I was like a bomb, just waiting to be ticked open and just boom. It wasn't up until a few years ago that I called him up and I told him everything. The bombs exploded. And it's crazy because there was a lot of times that I exploded on Tazz. I can tell you, like in the gym, when I used to be so upset about everything, and I would go to the gym and punch the shit out of the bag. And it's crazy because like that was my outlet, right? The physical outlet. Going to the gym, punching it out, talking about my emotions, crying it out, going back to the gym, punching it out, fighting, all these things was my outlet. But it wasn't the actual outlet that I needed to let out to really truly say how I really felt to the person that I needed to tell, and that was my father. And so when I told him everything, you can imagine it was a lot of sobbing and you did this, you did that, a lot of blame, right? And so yes, it was very hard. But guess what? He's still here. And thanks to that, our relationship is stronger and beautiful and amazing, and we're getting through it. Now, this episode is just letting you know that it is okay to go through those feelings of guilt, of feeling weak, of vulnerability, of fuck, I can't be who I am, I'm feeling caged. It's okay to do that. But what's not okay is staying that way. It's not okay to not talk about your feelings. It's not okay to let them in and letting them eat you up inside. That was what's happening to me. So it was horrible. For many years, I disassociated my life and my past because I don't remember a lot of things that I did during my teenage years. And I think there's a correlation with like trauma and not trying to put yourself in that state again, because You just disassociate. You don't find the value. You don't find yourself back there again. You're scared to go back there again. So you forget about it. Literally, our brains just forget about it. So yeah, it wasn't until a lot of years and a lot of talks and a lot of deep work, writing, talking about it, praying about it, that I finally remember stuff. But it took so much deep work. And it's tough to have mental health. I should say, like, it's very fucking tough. I'm not saying it's not. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. To allow yourself to be miserable. I want you to know that you will be okay. And God has you. Whether or not you're a believer, right? Again, I respect people's religious views, but I do know that you will be okay and that you have the support system. And if you don't, find the help. Open up to the closest person that you can feel safe with, to be heard. I'm very blessed. Trust me, I feel very blessed every day that I can open up to my friends. I can be myself. I can say the dumbest shit, or not even the dumbest shit. I can really say how I truly feel without feeling judged. I have a safe space, not just at the gym anymore, but with the people that I'm surrounded by. This is how I know, how God is really working his magic, because now I'm attracting the right groups into my life, the right people. And lately, Tazz and I have been now collaborating with this amazing brand named You Are More. And they focus on mental health and suicide prevention initiatives to help those that really need it, so they can find a voice and that they feel heard. And Tazz and I will be collaborating with them on a show called Suplex the Stigma. The stigma that we have grown up by. I grew up with that stigma, right? And so You Are More has now been open to be our guests at the Tazz Knows Podcast. And when I tell you, that podcast episode hit home. It hit home. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I just want you to know that when it's published, I'll let you guys know. Stay tuned for July, because this is going to be big. This series of Suplex the Stigma with You Are More and Tazz Knows Podcast is going to be impactful. It's going to have purpose. It's going to have a lot of faith and a lot of heart. And I can't wait for you guys to listen to it. And I cannot wait for you guys to listen to the upcoming guests, our luchador guests, the Suplex the Stigma show. I'll talk more about it later, but I just want you guys to know that this is the shirt that I'm wearing. I appreciate them so much as people. They're genuine people. If you guys want to check them out, you guys can follow them on Instagram. They are called You Are More 988. You're not alone. And you are worthy. You are appreciated. And you are meant for a purpose. You are here for a purpose. And you will get through whatever you're going through right now. It may seem like the end of the world. It may seem like you don't have an opening, a window of hope, but you will be okay. And I appreciate you so much for listening to this. And I hope that you can stick around, because the next few videos are gonna be not for real. Tazz Knows Podcast. Make sure you follow us at Tazz Knows. Thank you, guys. I held it together.